Feel like your man is no longer bringing out the best in you? Want to know the secrets to preventing these toxic men from entering your life in the first place? Time to tackle toxic men right now. Hey everybody, I'm dating coach Ryan Patrick. So, toxic men. So I want to start off by asking you to imagine a life where you could avoid, or in some instances, totally repel a man who is no good for you. Think about how much time you could save by no longer going on bad dates. How many fewer lies you'd hear, or how many fewer complaints you'd have to endure. Most importantly, how many fewer instances you'd feel underappreciated, depressed, or completely and utterly helpless about what's wrong with your man. You're gonna wanna stay tuned because in this video, I'm gonna give you 3 ninja tips that deal specifically with toxic men. The first is gonna help you deal with that toxic man that's in your life right now. The second tip is gonna help you sidestep toxic men altogether, especially if you think you just started dating one. And the third tip is gonna help you avoid them altogether so you never have to deal with this ever again. Now, after I go over these tips, I'm gonna pitch you on something that's gonna help you completely clean house with any toxicity that's in your current relationship or any future relationship. And this thing I'm gonna show you is gonna help you completely recalibrate your mind to get exactly what you want out of men. And that includes this guy that you've labeled as being toxic that you might be currently in a relationship with. And finally, this thing is gonna help you heal your wounds from any toxicity from your past. So you're definitely gonna wanna stay tuned until the end for all of that. All right, guys, I'm super pumped about this. Let's get into those 3 ninja tips right now. So here it is, guys. Ninja tip number 1, reclaim your day. Now, as I mentioned before, this first tip is for those of you who find yourselves knee deep in toxicity with either a boyfriend or a spouse. If you're in a long-term relationship right now and you've been dealing with toxic behavior from your partner for months, maybe in some cases years, what you're gonna need to do is create an emotional separation or emotional distance from your partner. Now, when I talk about emotional distance, I'm not talking about being mean or weird or cold. I'm not talking about any of that. If you just feel exhausted and beaten down from this guy's words or his attitude, you need to emotionally and also physically remove yourself from the line of fire. And why are we doing this? Because sometimes when we're so close to a bad situation, we lose perspective on what's actually happening. And it can cause us to just become numb to it, or it just becomes familiar to us in our interactions with our partner. And we'll always lean towards something that's familiar to us, even if it's a bad thing, because we find a way to adapt around it. And we'll stay in that mindset and that mold for a long period of time. Now, for some of you, maybe even a lot of you, it may be difficult to create that space you'll need from your partner, especially if you guys have small children that you're raising or you work together, for example. But what's required here is giving him less of your time and reclaiming that for yourself. By creating this buffer of space for yourself and doing activities alone, you're gonna find that your body and your mind are gonna become balanced. They're gonna stabilize now that you've temporarily removed the negative elements. So 3 quick things I wanna mention about this point. The first is what's causing you anxiety in this relationship is that you're internalizing your man's thoughts and his actions. So if this guy is critical of you at all, it's gonna completely bulldoze your self-esteem. So the second point is you're gonna wanna grab a journal and you're gonna wanna write things down during this period when you're alone with your thoughts. And what you wanna do with this journal is you wanna start peeling apart what thoughts are yours and what thoughts are his. Now, you might find this a little difficult at first, especially if you're not used to doing this type of exercise. But once you start this exercise, I think what you might find is that it actually elevates your self-esteem and empowers you to not only reclaim your time, but you're also reclaiming your independence, your independent thoughts, your independent feelings. This is why this is so powerful. So the third thing is once you feel like you've regained insight into what is happening, you've been able to separate your thoughts from his thoughts and you have it written down, what I would suggest you do at this point is go have a talk with him and just simply tell him, look, it's taken you a little while to really figure out what the problem has been for you. Again, when you're approaching your man about a situation that can be really dicey and really touchy like this, just remember those feeling statements that we talked about in other videos. as I feel. I feel I needed to take some time for myself and feel like I needed to really figure out where I am in this relationship. So once you guys sit down together, I want you to say, look, it's taking you a little while to kind of think about maybe things that have been making you feel uncomfortable, making you feel sad within your relationship with him, and that you think it would be wise if you guys just went to go see a counselor or went to go get professional help for a little bit. And look, I'll be honest, that can be a fairly aggressive move depending on what guy you're talking to about it. And I say that because this most likely is gonna come out of the blue for him. He's probably thinking everything is fine, but now you're addressing this with him head on. So now it's a problem. So after you have suggested this and he tells you he doesn't see the need for that, well then you just have to let him know that he really needs to reconsider because you've made a decision for yourself and you're no longer willing to subject yourself to his rants and his negative behaviors. And that you'll leave if you have to. Okay, so I know that was a long tip, but I wanted to paint the full picture for you so you don't miss any of the golden nuggets that are in there. Ninja tip number 2, know how you're contributing. So this tip now includes those of you who find yourself in a new relationship, maybe you just started dating a new guy, but this will also apply to people that are in those long-term relationships as well. Know how you're contributing means taking responsibility for ways that we might be contributing to the toxic relationship. Because whether you like it or not, this man, this person is not 100% fallible. If you can seek out and discover the little ways that you might be contributing to his behavior, man, that is the heart of detoxing these toxic relationships. Now, this is obviously important for a lot of reasons, but let me ask you one question. Do you find the same moments playing out in each relationship with a new man? For example, is there a side of you that's constantly looking for a fight with this guy? Because that's what your mom or your dad did with you growing up? What role do you find yourself playing in these relationships? And not only that, but do you find that it's triggering a response from him that feels familiar to you? Remember, we love things that are familiar to us, whether they're good or bad. So it could be something that's not even remotely healthy for you or for him. So if you answered yes to any of those questions, it's time to claim responsibility for your share, for perpetuating this role that you've been playing out for a very long time. And just stop it immediately. When you can identify what that role is, and more importantly, identify exactly how it's corroding your relationship with your man, you'll stop. And it's gonna feel like a weight has been completely lifted off your shoulders. You'll no longer have the burden of playing this role that you never really even knew that you were playing out. And you see, when you stop, a major shift happens in your relationship. And this is one of the important keys in detoxing a relationship, to give it fresh air. So the good news for you guys is that if you were sitting here thinking that you had to leave this toxic man, there was no other way around it, that's not necessarily true. If you deep down really want to remain in a relationship with this man, you just want him to change, you want to change, then these are the tips that are going to help you get there. Now, I'm going to explain this a bit more when we get to that thing I mentioned in the beginning that I'm going to pitch you on. And finally, ninja tip number 3, know your triggers. So now this tip is going to include all of you that are in a long-term relationship, all of you who are just starting a relationship or just started dating a guy that you feel might be toxic, or for all of you that just want to avoid toxic men altogether. Now, honestly, this tip is a little trickier to execute by yourself, but it's gonna be the tip that's probably gonna save you the most time and unnecessary suffering. You wanna see a toxic man not have any negative effect on you in a relationship? Identify and control your triggers. The truth is, a man can't be toxic for you if you don't allow him to. You see, that's the power of tip number 3. You end up controlling the toxic cycle. When combined with the other tips, that's what's happening. You've given yourself space to reclaim your day. You've discovered how you're contributing to or perpetuating his toxic behavior, and you've identified your triggers, and that renders his behavior unharmful to you. So now I've given you the broader macro strokes of what to do in a toxic relationship. But how can you really maximize these ninja tips and break them down into smaller, more practical steps to get the job done? Let me introduce to you Rori Raye's Toxic Men program. So if you remember in step 2, we talked about talking to your man about getting professional help. But now that we're talking about this program, imagine being able to get that professional grade help in the comfort of your own home. Someone that could deliver 5+ hours of therapy to you through a video series that features other women going through exactly what you're going through. Now, for those of you who don't know Rori Raye, she is one of the premier relationship experts out there. And she is also one of the main reasons I started this YouTube channel. Now, I have studied her very closely. I've gone through all but 2 of her programs and I've written reviews about them. And she is very good. Now, my goal here is I want to get you help right now. Now, I don't have any of my own programs, so instead of spending the next 6 months trying to put something together for you, I would much rather let you know about this program because this is a person that I trust and I know that she can help you. I found out about Rori when I started my coaching practice a few years back, and what I really loved and appreciated about her is her tough love style of coaching. Rori is a former crisis counselor, and she's helped thousands of women find empowerment in their relationships. And I believe one of Rori's biggest credentials, and she would probably tell you this as well, is that she was able to rescue her own marriage from almost certain peril. I liked her as soon as I saw her address a crowd within 5 minutes. Her program, Toxic Men, is gonna walk you over a bridge from feeling totally helpless in an unfulfilling relationship and turning that around completely really fast. So as I've mentioned, I have reviewed all of Rori's programs except for 2. Yes, I sat through all 5.5 hours of Toxic Men and I wrote about it. What I wanted to do in these reviews is really give you exactly what you can expect from each of her programs, the good and the bad. You can check out that review at daterboy.com/toxic. daterboy.com/toxic. Now, if you do decide to purchase Toxic Men, if you feel it's right for you, I will get a small commission for letting you know about Rori's program. But go over to my review right now and check out the highlights of what Toxic Men will offer you. You're gonna learn things like your own personal toxic style from her. You're also gonna learn the toxic man archetypes and which one your man currently might be. You're also gonna learn exercises to help you communicate with your inner stranger, which Rori personally guides women through on camera. So when you go over to my Toxic Men review, on the review page itself, you're gonna see 2 very important things. The first thing you're gonna notice throughout the article are blue hyperlinks that will take you directly to her program for purchase. When you click on those links, you'll also be able to read more about Toxic Men directly from Rori's own words about it. And if you need a little bit more convincing and you want to actually hear from people that have gone through the program with Rori, go to the bottom of the review and you're going to see a video there of video testimonials from these women. Finally, if you're curious about any of Rori's other programs, just below the video screen, you're gonna see hyperlinks to other reviews of other programs that I've done. I even reviewed her infamous ebook, Have the Relationship You Want. Now, you're probably wondering about the cost of this program. Well, the good news is this is gonna cost you about the price of one single professional therapy session. But you have everything on video for a lifetime as long as you need to reference it. The cost of Toxic Men is $199, but Rori's running a deal right now that you can get all of her programs for the price of 2. So that's 8 programs for the price of 2. So if you're looking for value, if you're looking for a deal, that's 70% off of each of them priced individually. Something to seriously consider. The best part is about the pricing, she has a money-back guarantee. It's a 7-day money-back guarantee, so if you're not totally satisfied with the product, you're able to return it and get your money back. Therefore, it's completely risk-free to you. But I really think you're gonna love this program. I wouldn't have pitched it to you otherwise. I really wish that you could just do this for yourself. Get this video program for you. Because if myself or Rori, if we can help you save even 1 minute of needless suffering from a relationship, then you know what? Totally worth it. I'm gonna show you exactly what to expect after you purchase the program in a second, but I wanna add one more thing. Please don't be thrown off by the fact that this video was shot about 10 years ago. There is nothing outdated about the information. The advice she gives in this program is 100% applicable to 2019 and beyond. So now let me show you exactly what to expect on your computer after you make the purchase. Okay everyone, so once you click over to my blog, this is the review that you're gonna see. And you're gonna see in multiple places these hyperlinks. You click on that and you're gonna go right to Rori's program. And I have a bunch of these embedded in here. Anytime you see blue, all of these links will lead you to Rori's Toxic Men program. Click on that link and here you are on her website. Now the beautiful thing is It's $199, but you can make payments. You can make 5 payments, in fact. Here's that risk-free link, letting you know you have 7 days money-back guarantee. So she's going to describe in her own words what her program is, aside from how I reviewed her program. Tell you exactly what you're going to get. Here's the 5+ hours of video material that I certainly went through every minute of. And here's where you pay. So once you pay, you just click the option that you're most comfortable with, either the one payment of $199 or the 5 smaller payments of essentially $40 US. So guys, once you make the purchase, you're gonna get an email from Rori. This one was through Brittany's credit card, so it went to my wife, Brittany. And this is saying, here you go, you've purchased the Toxic Men program. All you need to do is click the link that's right down here, as you can see, and I'm gonna click on that. And it's gonna take you right to Rori's video interface. So over here, you're gonna have her playlist of all of the sections. Every beat is broken down into a subchapter, as you can see. This one, section 2, chapter 6, David Wygant. I mentioned him in my review. He's hilarious. He's got some really good insights for you. So definitely pay attention to when David comes on the screen. So actually, let's just click on that right now, and you'll see in the video player, it pops up. And you'll should see David.
Now we have another wonderful man speaker, a totally different kind of.
So you can control everything at the bottom here. The download. She's got some worksheets. She answers questions. So this is the video player for Rori Raye. If you guys have any questions at all about the program or about Rori, and if you're watching this video and I had made it 6 months prior, it doesn't matter. I respond to and answer to all comments, good or bad. Just leave me a comment below. I'll get back to it as quickly as possible because I want you to have the best information possible so you can make the best decision for you. So now head on over to my blog to read my review of Toxic Men, daterboy.com/toxic. Enjoy the program, and I'll see you in the next video.